Hey, welcome back, everybody. Jeff Frick here, coming to you from the Egen Lounge at the House of Blues at Google Cloud Next in Mandalay Bay. And we're excited to be here. I think there's like 25,000 Googlers in the ecosystem talking about the latest things going on. And a lot of the talks about agentic AI. I hope you've been using your chatbots because things are moving right along. And we're really excited to have our next guest. He's the pretty recently named new CEO of Egen, Alim Somani. Alim, great to see you.
Great to be here, Jeff.
So, welcome, first of all,
Thank you.
in your new role.
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
And doing a little homework for this, I know you have some real specific thoughts about culture, behaviors, how to really grow a good, positive culture in the company. What's your vision for Egen? You got to be excited to be here. What's going to happen?
There couldn't be a more exciting time and exciting place to be. And if I think about where Egen has come, it's similar to my roots. I'm an engineer by training, and Egen is a company of engineers that are probably for the past 5-6 years have been tackling problems ahead of their time, focusing on helping companies get their data organized, build platforms to allow things to scale, and now starting to help them apply AI to real workflows and drive business impact. So for me, the big opportunity is how do we amplify that? How do we take that culture and ethos of smart people that are egoless, that are curious, and really build a culture around that and amplify that in the market at a time when companies are trying to figure that out.
You're also famous for saying that you like working on the back ends of the world and the unsexy but important. And like you said before we turned the cameras on, you're involved in mining. So you've been involved in like heavy industry, real business, real infrastructure type of businesses applying technology, not just technology for technology's sake.
I would say this. So I spent the first half of my career working on what I say the front end of the world. Like I did a lot of work in financial services. And the past 5 years, the back end of the world. Like what is that all for, right? The stuff, we're sitting here at a table that's made of plastic. Okay, that took oil and gas to be moved around the world. Or we hear so much about cloud servers. Okay, that requires critical minerals to be dug around the world, out of the earth. But those things are incredibly capital intensive, incredibly energy intensive,
right?
And they take people to be working in very disparate places. And we spent the past 5 years saying, how do we help make those industries more efficient, more productive? How do we make them more friendly to the world? Because the world needs more of them. So that was, and AI and data have a huge role to play there.
Right. So we're here at Google Cloud Next. Yeah. You're relatively new to the Google ecosystem. Yeah. Gemini is this amazing thing. It seems to be popping up everywhere. It pops up in our search at home. It pops up in Google Workplace. Yeah. I was at the robotics conference. Gemini Robotics is an amazing foundation here. And now there's Gemini for Enterprise, Gemini for Government. So when you think of having that asset behind you through this partnership with Google, how does that excite you or change the way you can think about approaching problems?
It's a massive enabler, especially if you're a company like Egen and you look at the purpose we're trying to solve for our clients. So our clients are grappling right now with how do they transform their businesses? There's a huge pressure with AI coming out saying, how do you move more efficiently? How do you improve operations? How do you change the core of what you do? But if companies have to spend all their time and effort on plumbing, the time to value is just too much. Gemini and the way Google has looked at things is they're providing a lot of that infrastructure, models, access to data, governance. We know how to light that up, but then we know how to take that a step further. We have the empathy, the EQ to connect and say, hey, how do you look at your client's workflows? How do you embed the data and the workflows together? How do you go beyond that into adoption? How do you go into that in terms of the human elements of getting people to look at things? So it's a huge accelerant to us, and Google's a huge enabling partner for us and our clients.
Right. Well, it's funny because I saw another quote. You said digital transformation should not be viewed as disruption, but performance elevation. And I think that is such a powerful way to look at it because so many people get wrapped around the axle with digital transformation, this, that, and the other. It's how do you do things better, right?
I think there's a bias in our industry, in technology or digital technology, to get really enamored in the bits and bytes and everything. That's the second thing you should be looking at. We should be looking at our clients and our clients' businesses and looking at it as a value tree. These are value chains. Where is value being lost along the way? Where is that value being lost, and where is there an opportunity using data, using improved decision-making, using improved predictions to improve the efficiency of an organization and possibly transform it? And if you start there, and then you work backwards and you say, what are the biggest value levers we can push? You can have a real impact on clients, but also the world.
Yeah. It's interesting. You guys are not exclusively public sector by any stretch, but we're talking a lot of public sector here. We just had Cameron on from the Google public sector side, and we were talking about the procurement process, and public sector moves kind of slow, and how do they react in this hyperspeed, environment that we're in now? But still have fast prototypes, still be able to do some of these cool projects like at Sunny, but you still have this kind of ancient procurement system that maybe is not built for internet speed.
I think it gives me pleasure to be able to bring our talents, our skills, the technologies to public sector. We all live in communities, we all live in societies, we all live in places where we need services from our government. It's been hard over the past couple of decades for governments to deliver what citizens need. Things have gotten more expensive, labor has gotten more expensive. It's just, infrastructure's gotten more expensive. So us being able to sit down and actually be able to accelerate services and service delivery in a way that is massively accretive, it has an impact on how all of us live as citizens in the world.
Such a great investment. It's such a great mission. I want to ask you about some of the challenges. I'm always surprised at people that have yet to have even tried talking to AI. And the last couple of years, the focus was really around chatbots and this and that. And now the theme today, in the keynote, is agentic. I'm sure a lot of senior CEOs, probably not CIOs, are like, oh my gosh, I see hallucinations. I'm not sure, Alim, are we ready to put this and have it control? How do you help them overcome? What are some of the ways that you're seeing them move down the line? Because this is what's happening today.
I do think when you're in the technology field, we live a little bit in a bubble. We talk to like-minded folks, so we assume everybody is embracing AI. We're on the cutting edge. Most people still have tremendous amount of caution around things, and their cautions are legitimate, right? And we have to spend time and help overcome those cautions, right? People are worried about intellectual property, their own, infringing on other people's.
Right.
People are worried about quality. Okay, if people are using AI models to do things, what's the human check? People are worried about how are you bringing talent up in the organization. There's a lot of real concerns. People are worried about differentiation. Okay, if we're all using the same models, how do I differentiate myself?
Right.
If we're all designing, I came from a background where I was working with an engineering firm, and a lot of the dialogue was, if we're all designing using the same models, what makes us special? And those are legitimate things that need to be tackled and looked at. AI does not replace the need for human innovation. It increases the need for human innovation. So those are challenges that we have to tackle to fully access the opportunity that AI will bring.
Right. So we built in the industry for a long time, and one of the themes that always comes up is your data ready?
Yeah.
Have you broken your data silos? Is everything built? Are people finally in a place where they can take advantage of this in terms of their data infrastructure and their data architecture? So
this might be controversial for me to say. Absolutely, you need to get your data organized. I do think there's been a bias largely driven by, some of the larger consulting organizations to say, hey, you need to go through these massive data transformations before you can start extracting value. I think you can start extracting value much earlier in the cycle than people have traditionally thought. I think if you understand the domain and the problems you're solving, you can be a lot more precise with the data that you need to access. And the tendency to go and say, let's massively transform data first, it's a little bit of a laziness around understanding the domain that you're solving. You know the domain, you can get away with less perfect data and more precise data acquisition.
It's interesting on the robotics side, LLMs change the way that the interface goes between me telling the robot what to do and it understanding, change things completely. And you talked about a really, I think it's a good follow-up, where we're moving from instruction-based computing to intent-based computing. So, hopefully there's enough automagic things happening in the background that when I make a query or I ask to do something, it's then going to figure out and hopefully can go out and get what it needs to solve that problem.
I think there's a lot of, when you talk about, if you take all the marketing away from AI and say, what is it? It's our ability to use vast amounts of processing and vast amounts of data to make better predictions. Now, predictions by definition are non-deterministic, right?
Right.
But they can take into account a broader set of data and context. And as we get better at making those predictions, we can do a lot more. Then if I have to write everything rigidly down in a rule, that might be precise, but that's limiting.
Right.
And so the real innovation is, what if computers get better at making predictions and can predict as well, if not better than us?
Right.
And how do we work with that? And that, apply that to robotics. And all of a sudden the robots can maybe start behaving the way you and I are in this interview.
Right. Well, the classic demo was when Agility, one of the leaders up in Corvallis that came out of Oregon State, 2 Marches ago, the guy said, Digit, clean up this mess.
Yeah.
And it had to figure out what is clean up, what is a mess, what is it, where does it go?
Yeah.
Right. The funny end of the story is it put the plastic in the regular garbage, not the recycling. And they said, Digit, why did you do that? And it said, well, that's not recycling in this county.
That's a better prediction than the human would have made, right?
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give you the last word. You got all the folks here exciting. You're getting started on your new tenure. What are you excited about for 2026, 2027?
Oh boy, so much. It's last.
Give me
words.
a couple. Give me a couple.
I'm
top of mind.
When I walk around our business and I look at the impact Egen has had in healthcare, I think there's some tremendous innovations. Like, if I think of the biggest problems we're facing as a nation, it's how do we deliver affordable healthcare with an aging population? We're going to make some big splashes in the space. We're going to help our clients improve their research efficiency. We're going to help them improve how much capital they're able to free up towards hospitals and beds and everything. I'm very excited about that. And then I'm also excited about codifying some of our solutions and taking a little bit of an IP approach to driving value around what we're doing.
Awesome. We should certainly need more help in healthcare, that's
Yeah,
for sure.
absolutely.
All right, Alim. Well, thank you for stopping by.
All right,
Congratulations
my
again.
pleasure. It's good to be here.
All righty.
All right.
He's Alim. I'm Jeff. We are at the Egen Lounge at Google Cloud Next. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Take care.